Okay, so in our last session, we have started discussing about some database options. We discussed two primary options. One is multi-AZ deployment, and second one is read replica. So when coming to this multi-AZ deployment, so it is designed to it's designed for high availability, fault tolerant purpose. We are going to get a standby DB instance or DB cluster. We have two options. So if you select DB instance, we are going to get a standby database. In case if something happened to primary, the secondary will come and pick the data. Both will be in sync. Okay, data point of view. Then we have this DB cluster. In this multi-AZ DB cluster, we will have one primary copy, two read copies. So in the previous one, multi-AZ DB instance, one primary, one standby. That standby we cannot use. But here in cluster mechanism, the standby two clusters are there, right? We can use it for read purpose. In case of primary one failure, one of the database act as a primary, remaining two become as a read copies. So total 3 copies will run. So cost is going to be into 3 times. If it is a DB instance, cost is into 2 times. Okay. So whenever we are creating this database, if you are enabling automated backups, AWS is going to create a backup on two things, on two scenarios. One is on backup window. So whenever the backup window comes every day, so AWS will take a backup during that window. That is mandatory, right? Second one, when AWS detected any major changes happening on our database, so then AWS will take a backup prior to the change. So then it will apply the change. Okay, and so the backup retention period minimum is 1 day, maximum is 35 days. If you are setting it to 0, that is nothing but not enabling that feature. So there is an option called point in time recovery, PTR. So if you want to use that PTR option, automated backup must be enabled. Okay. And then we have monitorings, enhanced monitoring and basic monitoring, just like our EC2 instance, basic monitoring and detailed monitoring. And we have a concept called read replica. It works with master slave mechanism. When basically the master one is going to take read as well as write operations. Master one is going to take read as well as write operations. Okay. And the replica will support only read operations. It won't support any write operation. Okay. So whatever change you are doing on primary, it automatically replicate to replica. If you want to break down that replication, you can do it. But once you break down, you cannot re-establish the replication again. Right? So this is what we discussed in our last session. So this topic is pending. We'll discuss today. Okay. So, yeah. Have you guys completed this project? Have you guys completed this project? Right, I can see 2 yes and Raghu working. Okay, yes. Okay. So, the primary purpose of this project, is, see, you guys only asked me long back. So we are just delivering, this is my web page, this is my simple web page and all, right? So, is that what we are going to deliver in real environment? No, right? So we are going to perform such type of configuration part. Don't worry about the code part. If you don't understand code, no issue, nothing. Okay. Even I took a developer help to build some piece of that code. Okay, I'm not a Node.js expert. I know bit Python, but I'm not at all Node.js expert. So what I did, I applied my basic knowledge. I did some basic changes. I struck Like, in between, I took a Node.js developer help, right? So there is a friend who is like, working on that. So I always took his help. So then I finally prepared that. Okay. So that's code. You don't worry. Even if you don't understand code also, no need to worry at all. What you have to understand, launching an EC2 instance, securing it, key pair, connectivity, installation part. Okay. Then role creation and role attachment part. Then SNS creation and providing permission to the role. These are important points. So you have to worry about these components only. Don't worry about the code. Okay. You got it? So that is the purpose of that project one. So in this project, no database involved. Next, we will get another project. In that next project, right, we have similar project for SQS also. There also no database, nothing. But we have another thing called WordPress. How we can deliver our own WordPress website. Building a WordPress website from scratch and delivering, including database. So that, like, coming, that we will discuss probably like, today end of the session, I will give you that as a project. So you are getting some time tomorrow and day after tomorrow. I want you to complete that WordPress one by using this database and EC2 instances. Okay? Yeah. Right. So if you already completed this task, well and good. You face any difficulty? Any questions before starting today's session? You got the concept? Good to start today's session? Okay. So let me quickly create a database. I'm creating a database. Create database, standard create, MySQL. I'm calling it as a, okay, Indian version 8.0.35 is fine. And I'm going with free tier. So we already know multi-AZ, right? We're good to go with free tier again. I'm going to call this as my RDS and username admin Avinash12345 is a password. The 4G micro also comes under free tier eligibility. I'm going with it. 20 GB is fine. No auto scaling. VPC subnet group public access as a no, and we already have a security group. I'm using that security group. Certificate default, password authentication. So if you want to authenticate to this database by using IAM, okay, you can. For that, what you need to do, you need to create a policy. You need to attach that policy to an IAM user. Okay. So by using that, like again, you need to configure that user access key ID, secret access key inside an EC2 instance. So then you have to create a user within the database. Then you can use the user credentials. So this is not a commonly used one. Password authentication is a commonly used option. Okay. Right. This IAM authentication or Kerberos authentication is not a commonly used one. If you still want to, like, you are curious, you want to give a try, you want to know how things works, I made a video on this. So the reason why I'm sharing that video, it's not scope of our session, first thing. And also I'm clearly saying it's not a commonly used one. Okay. Out of 100 customers, only 2 or 3 customers uses. Just imagine how low that count is. We will create functional IDs or users within the database. We will use the users. But like again, we are not going to use this IAM credentials to log in. Whatever username you have in IAM, same user you have to create in database. So additionally, it's kind of additional activity, additional task for us, for DBA team also. So that is the reason we don't use much. But if you're still interested, I'm going to give that video link. It's purely your personal interest. Okay. No force, nothing. I even don't call it as a task also. If you really want to know how things works, you go through that video. Okay. So I'm going with password authentication only. So that means whatever the password we have set up here, we are going to log into the database by using that password. Then you can create users. Then you can create users. Then you can use that user to log in. Right? So then additional configurations, initial database, you can give automated backup. I'm enabling. Okay. So backup is a topic we are discussing. I'm enabling automated backup. Encryption, it's your choice. Minor version upgrade, not going to enable maintenance also. I will choose a window. I want to explain this feature as well. So you choose Saturday or Sunday sometime. Okay. So then create database. So this database creation is going to take some time. We will discuss backup options meanwhile. So now whenever we are creating this database, I have enable automated backup. Okay. So when you go to this maintenance and backup, if you scroll down, you see here backup configuration information. Whether automated backup is enabled or not. Automated backup is enabled. Every 1 day. I have not given appropriate window, so AWS pick a window automatically. Okay. So when there is a huge workload on this database, AWS won't create backup during this window. For example, a window, it got picked. But during that window only, the automated backup will happen. There is no guarantee. Even this, I came to know recently, like a couple of months back. One during a window, one backup have to create, but it's not created. Immediately we realized. So then I went to this AWS documentation, and in the documentation clearly mentioned there is no 100% guarantee that your backup copy creates during that window only. 99% it will create. Only one scenario that if we have lot of heavy load on the database, it will differ. So AWS RDS automated backups. So if you go to these automated backups, okay, you can backup window. Yeah. Automated backup occurs daily during the preferred backup window. If backup requires more time than allocated to backup window, backup continue even after window completes. For example, I have given 30 minutes window, but within the 30 minutes it's not completed. Still it continue. Okay. So backup window and maintenance window should not overlap. Okay. See, yeah. Automated backup might occasionally be skipped if DB instance or cluster has heavy workload at the backup supposed to happen. But there is an option called point in time recovery, PITR. Okay. So backup still attempt next backup window. All right. However, backup got skipped. No need to worry. So this backup is kind of a safer side, 100% guarantee. But there is a concept called PITR, point in time recovery copy. Okay, point in time recovery. I'll explain you. Once this database is up and running, I will explain you what exactly that PITR option is. So DB created, you see here the status. What is current status? It's backing up. So as I just enable automated backup, AWS automatically, when the database is coming to life, it is creating a backup copy. Whenever any major modification, it is going to create a backup copy. So you can even, to be in safe side, we can create a manual backup also. For example, this database, I'm going to do some modification. I'm going to restore some database. I'm going to do something at DB level. I'm worrying if I perform that operation, my database is going to be stable or not. I'm worrying about that. Okay. So in that scenario, what I can do? I can simply So like this, I can go here, I can take a snapshot. Again, if I want to take a snapshot, this status should be in available state only. Currently, it is already backing up. Can I create another backup? Go here, take a snapshot, click on take snapshot. See, you don't appear to have any available DB. So database, no database is in available state. So if you want to take a manual backup or automated backup also, this database should be in available state. Then only it allow you to create a backup manually. So where we can find these backup copies? You can go to this snapshots. You can go to the snapshots, or there is a dedicated screen for automated backups also. So the snapshot, again, you remember snapshot? Snapshot also a backup copy for our databases also. Snapshot is a backup copy for our EBS volume. But here in RDS also, snapshot is nothing but a backup copy. Snapshots are point in time copies. So that means, for example, at 7:48, if I am taking backup of a database, at 7:48, whatever the data is there inside that cluster, only that data will be backed up. Okay. If you restore after some time, at 7:48, whatever data we have, only that will be restored. After snapshot, if any new changes happens, that won't come to the snapshot automatically. That won't come to the snapshot automatically. But in database, there is an option called PITR, point in time recovery option. By using that, basically when you enable automated backups on your database, AWS continuously observes all the changes happening on our database. Okay. So even though your backup created at 7:48, let's assume at 8:10 my database is crashed. If I use snapshot, I will get data how exactly I have at 7:48, I will get the data only. But if I'm using PITR, point in time recovery option, AWS will give you earliest recoverable point. Or you can choose your own recoverable point. So then you can initiate a restoration. But if you want to use that feature, automated backup should be enabled. If automated backup feature is not enabled, you cannot use that PITR option. Okay? Yeah. So I will demonstrate that it is still backing up. So it is going to take some time. Meanwhile, I will connect to my EC2 instance. I kept that EC2 instance in stopped state. I'll connect to it. Again, the logics, the snapshot mechanism, right? It uses backend S3 platform to store the snapshots. It uses incremental backup mechanism. Those are all things same as EC2. Okay? Let me connect to it.
Avinesh, one question here.
Hit password, browse the key pair, key pairs folder. Okay. So now I got connected to my jump server. Within this jump server, I already have MySQL workbench. I'm going to use that to get connected to. So initially what I'm going to do. So first, I have a database here. It is in available state. Okay. So now I'm going to connect to this database. I'm going to initiate a restoration. DB, sample DB is there, right? I'll do the sample DB export here. Okay. Once that export completed, I'm going to take a backup of this database. Okay. I'm going to take a backup that is nothing but snapshot. I'm going to create a snapshot now. Once a snapshot created, I'll drop from actual database. Okay, I'll drop same from actual database. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch a new database from the snapshot I created. Then I'll connect to it and I'm going to verify whether I got all data or not, whether I have schema or not. Okay, right, let's do that now. So let me copy this endpoint. Let me connect to it. Let me delete all these connections. We'll take a new connection. Okay, so this is first copy. Admin is a username. I have given the password. I got connected to this database. Now I have two schemas. One is first DB, second one is sys. If you want to create, if you really want to create, instead of restoring that, if you really want to create your own schemas and all, I do have some commands. Not this, not this. Where is the... Yeah. So here I have some commands to create the database. Oh, yeah. Yesterday I kept that aside. I verified that. Yeah, here it is. So this is like, if you want to create a schema, if you want to use a schema, within that schema, if you want to create a table and you want to write some information into the table, these are the steps. Okay. So now let me show you. This is a command, create schema. The schema name is going to be finance. Execute it. Finance got created, give a right click. Here finance got created, right? That is a schema. So do I have any tables within the schema? No tables, nothing. So I decided to use this schema. So we can execute a command called use. So then this got bold. Okay. So all queries I'm going to execute that point to the schema. So now I'm creating a table within this schema. That table is going to contain information like employee ID, name, department, what is that, salary. These information I want to store. So copy this, paste it here and execute. So now you give a refresh. Sometime back there is no tables, but now I got a table called finance. If I am expanding, like currently I don't have any. If I select anything, if I'm running, do I have any data? Do I have any employee information? No, right? So now I'm going to write some information. So I'm going to insert data to this finance, name, department, salary. This is going to be name, this is going to be department, this is going to be salary. So let's copy this, execute it. Sometime back when I selected this finance schema, no information. But when I run now, you see here, there is all information storing here, right? So yeah. So that is how exactly you can create a schema, use a schema, right? Then you can create a table inside that. How we can insert data to that. So I will even give you this commands. I will write it to our document. Again, that is not our job. It's good to know things. And we are not going to do these things manually. Inserting data, we don't do manually. Application only will do that. Okay. Yeah, you can change the names, values, and you can try this thing. Okay. So now also I'm going to initiate the data import, go here, data import or restore, self-contained file. On my desktop, I have a SQL. So then import progress, start import, schemas, give a refresh. You see here, I got this classic model. I got classic model, finance, first DB, sys, four schemas are there. Now, I'm going to create another schema. But before creating I'm going to drop some schemas. But before dropping that, I decided to take a backup. I decided to take a backup. So at what time I'm taking backup? 7:57, I'm taking a backup. 7:57, these are the four schemas I have in my database. Okay. Now, to take a snapshot, select your database, make sure it is in available state, go to actions, take snapshot. Now, which cluster, which instance, select it, give a name. My RDS 758 backup. At 7:58, I'm taking this backup. Take a snapshot. Now a snapshot is creating. Is this automated snapshot or manual snapshot? I created it manually. So AWS, when we go to the system snapshot, AWS created one sometime back. You can even find the same here, automated one. AWS created one sometime back. Okay. So even here also under system, you can. If anyone shared any snapshot with you, that you will get it here. If you have any public snapshots or if you want to create database from any public snapshot, you can do that here. You can even integrate your database with some backup services like Percona Extra Backup or any other backup services that will come here. So you can store your backups into S3 bucket and you can export or import. Okay, so that is the final option here. So now a backup copy creating. Once this copy created, I will drop some schemas here, or you can do any modifications, guys. You can create a user, you can drop, or you can create another schema, you can do whatever you want. So once that is completed, so then you launch a new database from this snapshot, right? Whenever you are initiating a restoration, it is not an in-place restoration. Remember this. It is not an in-place restoration. Once you initiating a restoration, you will get a completely new copy with all that existing data. Okay? New name, new copy with all existing data. All right. So this is going to take some time. So meanwhile, I will take your questions. If you have any questions, we'll discuss now. Yes, Venki.
Avinash, what is the difference between the snapshot and backup?
Backup is not a standard, terminology in AWS. We call it as a snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but backup copy of our database or backup copy of our EBS volume. We don't call it as a backup. See, are we calling it as a server? We calling it as an instance. So similar manner.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Is snapshot created? Yes. Snapshot got created. Okay. Now what I'm doing, I'm dropping this finance schema, drop schema. Also, I'm dropping these classic models. So why I'm doing it? I just want to show some changes after snapshot. I did some changes on my cluster after snapshot. Now you have two options. Now you have two options. One is picking up a snapshot and restoring. If you are picking the snapshot and if you are initiating a restoration, what happens? At this time at 7:58, whatever my database state is there, with that state, with that data, with that information, new database will create. Okay, so how we can do that? Select it, actions, restore. Currently, how many databases I have? Only one. Now I'm navigating to snapshot. I'm selecting a snapshot, actions, restore snapshot. So then you go here, you want to enable multi-AZ DB instance cluster. No, I don't want. What is the new name you want to give? This is a snapshot you're using to restore. I'm calling this as a my RDS restored. Just to easily understanding, I'm calling it as a restored. What configuration you want to use? I'm going to take T4G micro and observe one thing. Is it asking us to configure username and password? No. Why it is not asking us to set up a username and password? This is our primary copy. This already have username, password. What we did, we have created a snapshot. So the snapshot also contains a username password, right? When I'm creating a new database, this is new database. This new database also comes with the same usernames and passwords. This also comes with new username and password. So that is the reason whenever you are initiating a DB creation from a snapshot, it don't ask you to set up username and password. Okay, you got the logic? Yeah. So now select the configuration, storage, VPC, public access, security group. Yes.
Avinash, 1 minute. Can you
Yes.
scroll up?
Yeah.
While restoring, you said that multi-AZ and cluster is available, right? Here.
Yes.
So if I took initially single DB instance and while restoring, we can convert it to.
Sir, we are restoring. You see here, I am restoring now.
Yes, yes. When we are
Yeah.
restoring, we can select multi-AZ DB cluster also, right?
Yes, we can
Though
select.
initially it was started as a single DB instance,
Yes, we can.
we can do that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Just want
Yeah,
to know.
we
I
can.
thought if I took a single DB instance, even while restoring also it should be single DB. So it's
No,
not
no, no, no,
that
no.
we can.
While you are restoring, you can even you can even increase the size. You can even change the configuration. For example, my existing database is with T3 class.
Okay.
While I'm restoring, I can take different configuration also. Okay. I can take I can take additional size also here. I can launch it in different VPC also. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's almost like a new
Yes.
instance we are
It's
starting.
almost like a new creation only, but without username. That is the first thing. With existing data. That is the second thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So public access, security group, port number, DB authentication, encryption. You see here, it's not allowing us to disable this. You know the reason? My primary copy is already encrypted, snapshot encrypted, new database also encrypts. We already discussed this in our EC2. Nothing new. Additional configuration. You want to enable any logging, you want to enable any maintenance, you can then click on restore DB instance. Okay. So now a new database is coming. Okay. So what we are going to verify? Once this database is up and running, we will get connected to it and we are going to verify at 7:58 whatever data I have, whether I got the data or not, that is what we are going to verify. Okay. So that is snapshot mechanism. We will connect and verify. See, this is what my current state. But in 7:58, I have 4 databases. Okay. One is classic models, finance one is additional one along with these two. Okay. So we will get connected to it, then we will verify once it is in available state. Obviously, that is going to take some time. So, whenever you are working with database, right? So you should have little patience. Meanwhile, I'll show you one meme. So this is my position now. Yeah, without that comes to available state, I can't continue anything, right? So just waiting to instance to be available. So whenever you are working with database, right? Yes, it will take a lot of time. So that too, if you enable automated backups and all, yes, it takes some time. Okay. So meanwhile, I will explain you an option. This output, once it is in available state, I will I will come back here and I'll show the output. So there is, along with this snapshot, manual snapshot or automated snapshot, there is an additional option called point in time recovery option. Okay. See, I have a database, I have a snapshot. The snapshot created at 7:58. Now I'm I'm working on my database. I'm continuously working on my database. Suddenly I did some mistake or I decided to restore it to different time. So now time is 8:08. So it's almost 10 minutes, right? Now, whatever changes happen during this 10 minutes, it won't come. That we already know. It won't come. But I need most recent restorable point. I told you when we enable automated backup, AWS is going to maintain backup periodically in backend. It will keep on takes backup incrementally in our database. What is the most recent restorable time? Most latest restorable time. Okay, I can get for my database. Let's observe that. Select this database, actions, here, restore to point in time. PITR, we call it as a PITR, point in time recovery option or object. So select that PITR. Now you see here, what is the most recent restorable time? 8:05. Observe here. Most recent restorable time is 8:05. See, it should be 7:58, right? But from 7:58 also, after 7:58 also, AWS keep on taking backup if you want to restore to this latest restorable time. So you are going to last 5 minutes changes only. But if you are going with snapshot, how much time, how much duration changes we are going to miss? Last 12 minutes we are going to miss. We created it 7:58 and it is 8:10 now. Last 12 minutes change we don't get. But if you are using this restorable time PITR option, you are going to miss last 5 minutes only. So based on your requirement, you can either use point in time recovery option or a snapshot option. Okay, if you are pretty comfortably you know all the changes or you know when you have taken the snapshot and all, then better to go with that snapshot option. But somehow there is no most recent snapshot. For example, every day one snapshot is creating. But after 12 hours, my database crashed. Do I really need to last my last 12 hours changes? Not really required. If you are using this, hardly last 5 minutes or 10 minutes. See, sometime back it is 8:05, right? Now just give a refresh and try to find it. Try to get it. You see here, how last 1 minute change we are going to miss. So both are valuable, but this one very less data loss. Okay, but that snapshot at a particular time you will get it. Okay, even okay at 8:10, I really interested whatever my database is at 8:08. You can even select that. You go here, select 8:08, 30 seconds. At this time, whatever your database state is there, only to that state it will restore. Okay, so that is what PITR, sorry. PITR option. Remaining everything same, guys. DB instance identifier, configuration, multi-AZ deployment, storage, VPC, security group, password authentication, initial database. You want to set any retention period, then restore to point in time. So you will get a copy. Got it? Any questions on this snapshot and point in time recovery option?
Yes,
You have
Avinash.
any questions? We'll discuss.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, please.
So if I have to take a backup of a single database from the database client side, so
Hmm.
where it is going to store?
So if your requirement is, so you
Yes,
have two schemas, you want to take backup of this only one schema.
yes.
So that from AWS console, it is not possible. Whenever you are taking a snapshot, so technically you are taking entire thing, including all the schemas, including the users, including the variables, including like, everything, including the connections also. You are going to take backup of everything. If your requirement, you want to take only the schema, then what you can do, you should ask your DBA to perform one thing. What that guy will do, they are going to do this data export. Which schema you want to export? Select the schema, right? What are the options you want to add? Dump, you want to dump stored procedures and functions also. You want to dump events also. Then export. Once you export this, right? So it is going to store in this location. So if you go to this location, right, under C drive, documents, dumps, this is a dump of the database. Here it will store. It's actually uh,
So,
error. We don't have any data, right? So if you have some data and all, a dump copy will create.
so there
Okay?
is, yeah, there is no provisions to export it to the S3 buckets. Because here what I see is like if you are exporting, it's downloading to our C drive. But in real
Yes.
time, suppose if it's a DB is of some 500 or 1 TB size, so practically it's not going to possible.
You prepare a script,
You, no, downloading,
prepare a script and execute the script.
no, 1 TB of data again, restoring it back. So there is no provision to export it to S3.
So you mean you are saying 1 TB of one single schema?
Yes.
I've never seen that. Okay, but you can do that. You have to prepare a role and you can attach a role here. You do have an option to attach role to this machine. Once you attach the IAM role, so then you prepare a script and directly you dump it to S3 bucket. There is a way.
Okay. Just
Okay,
want to know whether that provision is there or not.
possible, possible.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
We can do some research and do that process.
Yeah.
Thank you, Avinash.
So here my RDS restored here. So let's get connected to it. Where is that? Yeah. Here, take a new connection. I'm calling this as a restored DB 3306. Admin is a username I have given. Password is Avinash12345. Connection success. Now if I get connected to this, if I go to schemas, you see here, everything is here. At 7:58, whatever the database state and everything is there, everything is here. So at 7:58, these all information already there, right? Everything it is showing here. Yeah. Clear with this snapshot creation and restoring from snapshot? Okay. Yeah. So that is backup option on our S3 bucket.
Avinash, I have one question.
Yes.
Initially, we have configured one database. So if something goes wrong over there, like any files are folders deleted, and we have restored with the snapshot. Okay, now a new database got created. So from now we will be using this new database or the existing one.
Okay, so your question is okay, when we will go with this backup and restoration, when something happened to our actual database.
Correct, correct.
When something happened to our actual database, then we will create a new one, we'll restore.
Yes.
So this is gone. This is not in healthy state. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to configure our application to point to this new database. This is one option. No, I don't want to do any changes to my database. Okay. So then what you can do, you rename this. Currently it is my RDS, right? So this is what the name. You rename it to different one. You modify it. Currently it is my RDS. It is like a wrong DB. Then continue. When do you want to apply this change? This is what current name. This is going to be new name. So apply immediately. Modify. So now this is going to modify with wrong name, old name. Now this is new one, right? Simply modify. You gave your actual name here. Okay. So now what happened? Name, it will change to this. So we are simply just changing the names. So obviously at application point of view, has failed. Choose another name. I mean, this rename not completed. Once this rename completed, then only this allow. These names also unique. I already have something with my RDS, then it is not renaming. Once this rename completed, I can rename this. So you got the logic, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Got the one. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. If you're okay to change at application, like, DB connection strings, you go with, you no need to rename this. But if you don't want to change that at application level, simply you give a different name. So that's it. That's the easiest option.
Okay. Okay. So as you said, like we will be taking snapshot backup. Uh, while taking the backup itself, we can configure that point in time recovery also, right?
While we are taking backup, can we configure?
Point in time recovery. So when something goes wrong,
No, no, no. I'm asking, can we, while you're taking backup, where is the point in time recovery? I'm click on take snapshot. So now where is the point in recovery option?
so there is no option to select.
Whenever you're taking a backup, it just asks you to enter the name. That's it.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. But
Yeah. All right. So clear with that? So now, yes, this got renamed wrong DB. Okay. Now I can go here. I can modify. I can give the old name. My RDS is a old name, right? And when I click on continue, now observe one thing. Whatever changes I'm trying to perform, it is asking, okay, when do you want to perform these changes? You want to perform during next maintenance window? That is on May 4th. So May 4th is nothing but tomorrow, Saturday. So I selected maintenance window as a Saturday morning. So do you want to perform these changes on Saturday or you want to apply immediately? So when you click on apply immediately, what happens? The change is going to apply now itself. If you select this option, click on modify, these changes wait till tomorrow this time. Once this time window ticks, then it is going to apply the change. Okay? Yeah. So that is another option. So now, yes.
The endpoint name is also getting changed, right?
What is your question, sir?
See, while restoring, just now you have showed that endpoint name, like
Yes, that is the reason we did rename, right?
yeah, this is the one, but Can you go back the one? Just not able to remember the name. The one.
Old name is my RDS.
Yeah,
I
click
renamed
on.
it to wrong DB as it is gone.
Yeah, click
So
on
this is
that one.
restored one.
Yeah, click
Now
on. Yeah.
I'm going to rename it to my RDS.
Okay. Here,
Apply immediately.
endpoint, it's changing to the new value.
That should change, right, with the name what you are doing, sir. So we are going to use this endpoint only to get connected to our database, right?
No,
So
my
endpoint
question
have
is
to
that,
change.
okay,
Endpoint has to change. We are doing this rename operation to change the endpoint only.
okay, but the old endpoint is being used in an applications. So,
Okay, I'll give simple example. I got your point. Okay, this is okay. My first database name is MyDB. Now,
okay,
this MyDB has an issue, right? What I'm doing, I'm taking a snapshot. I'm creating a new database from this snapshot. While creating, if I'm trying to give MyDB, it won't allow.
yes, that's true.
Okay, what I'm giving MyDB new.
Yes,
Okay, once this DB restoration and everything is completed, what I'm doing, I'm giving hyphen, I'm calling it as a old. I renamed this.
okay,
So then I'm renaming this to MyDB.
okay, you're pointing to the old one.
Am I pointing to old one?
I mean, you're changing it to the old name after restoring.
Yes, I'm changing it to old name. And my application, what it will look? My application look for, okay, what is my database name? My database name is MyDB. Earlier it pointed here. Now it is pointing here. So that is the reason we are not using IP address. We are using endpoint names.
Okay, if you look at the summary of modifications, here it shows as my RTS hyphen restored. Okay, that restored string also gets changed to the old one, right? Here,
Okay, one point I will
it's like
mention.
I understood like it's a DNS name. It looks like a DNS name.
Sir, let me complete my statement. Based on the name you are giving here, okay, the remaining part will generate. That is going to be here. Remaining part is same for all your databases.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
There is no change. If you create 100 databases, this part is going to be
Oh,
same. This part comes from the name you are defining.
yeah. Okay, got it, Avinash. Thank you.
Okay.
Right?
Right?
I have a question.
Yes.
So the restore point in time and the automatic backup, both are same thing?
Both are same thing. No, how both are same thing? When you enable automated backup, then only point in time recovery option is available, right? So you enable automated backup on your database. You want to use that feature. How you are going to use that feature? Either by using snapshot, you can use that feature, or by using this point in time recovery feature, you are going to initiate a restoration. So if you want to use these two features, you have to enable automated backup on your database.
Got it. It is not separate thing. It's like internally connected. So
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So in our EC2, just like EC2 reserved instances, right? You do have an option to purchase database reserved instances also. You will get good amount of discount if you purchase reserved instances. Okay? Yeah. We have to discuss lot of options actually, but today as per the plan, we have to complete till here. And we struck here itself. Okay. So, yeah. So now we have another database, right? That is Amazon Aurora. So this Amazon Aurora is AWS own databases. It has some advantages. You should know that advantages. Remaining process is same. Connectivity process, same. Remaining most of the options, same. 2 to 3 additional features are there here. The first additional feature for this Amazon Aurora is the maximum database size it supports. Remaining all databases supports maximum of 16 TB. But this Amazon Aurora supports maximum of 128 TB. First difference. Again, this is MySQL compatible one. So that means everything looks as a MySQL only. You can use MySQL tools only to get connected to it. Backend MySQL engine only runs. In backend, MySQL engine only will run, but AWS took that source code one, they modified it, they released it as a Aurora. And same way they did for this PostgreSQL also. And these Aurora don't comes under free tier eligibility. It won't comes under free tier eligibility. Okay, the minimum configuration itself is medium. The minimum configuration itself is T4G medium or T3 medium. That is what the support configuration for Aurora. The first point, maximum size 120 TB. Second, no free tier eligibility. And it's an open source. It's AWS owned one. Third, it has an option called 15 read replicas with failover option. Okay. Whenever you are creating this Aurora, what it will ask you, okay, so you are going to choose a master copy, you are going to create, but later we can add replica copies. So now this is my primary copy. This is my primary copy. This is my replica 1. This is my replica 2. This is my replica 3. So on, we can have up to replica 14. Total 15 replicas we can create. This first 0, 1, 2, total 15 replicas. Now, in case of this primary copy failure, one of this replica promotes as a primary copy and it will take all the load. And automatically it happens. Okay. So that is also an advantage. And data replication across all these replicas, it's going to be less than 10 millisecond only. Okay, even if you are creating 15 replicas also, the latency is going to be 10 milliseconds only. That is another option. So how many options total? First one, maximum size. Second, no free tier eligibility. Minimum configuration is T4G medium. It is AWS own database. Third, we can create 15 read replicas. Fourth one, it has a feature called serverless. So far, whatever the databases we created, what we did, we have selected a configuration, required configuration. Okay. So, but if you are choosing this Aurora serverless, you can define minimum capacity and you can define maximum capacity. We call it as a ACUs, Aurora Capacity Units. So, this minimum capacity unit, I am going to give 2 ACU, that is nothing but 4 GB RAM. I am giving maximum capacity as a 16 ACU. So, that means 32 GB RAM. This is 4 GB RAM. So, based on the load, AWS automatically scales. When workload is high, AWS run this cluster with 16 ACUs. When no load at all, very less load happening, then AWS is going to run with 2 ACU, that is nothing but 4 GB RAM. This feature we have only for Amazon Aurora. Got it? Clear with this option? Aurora comes as a cluster. You can keep on adding readers. You will get one master copy. So you can keep on adding readers to this Aurora cluster. So these are the additional options we will get for this Aurora. There is one certification question you can expect on this Aurora topic. That question is related to maximum size. The question is, you have a client, that client already have 50 TB or 60 TB data. They are considering it to migrate to AWS. Okay, which database you are going to choose? And also the client confirmed that every year their data size is increasing up to 800 GB to 1 TB every single year. Okay, so 800 GB or 1 TB. Let's take it as a 1 TB. Every year their database size is going to increase 1 TB. Their existing size is 60 TB. So can we go and restore it to MySQL? We can. MySQL supports maximum 64. But in next 4 years, the database is going to be full. But if you are taking Aurora 128, next coming 60 or 64 years, you can accommodate the data, right? So the logic is whether you really know the maximum database size these MySQL supports or this Aurora supports. That is a logic behind that question. Clear with that, guys? Yeah. So remaining, if you're really interested, you go and you create and you test this. There is no free tier option. Remaining options, right? You go and you set the password, right? So you set what configuration you required. Medium is the least configuration I told you, right? So read replica you want to create or not. So connect to your instance, which VPC, which subnet group, which security group, right? Everything is going to be same. Okay? Yeah. That is what Aurora database is. You should know those points. So write it down. Okay? Yeah. All right. So then we have some more databases. But instead of explaining the database, I prefer to explain a task. Okay. I should have keep it. Okay. So there is a task on DMS, database migration service. Okay. So basically DMS is a service we can use to migrate data from one database to another database. So basically we have two types of migrations. Not only in AWS, even in generalized also, we have two types of migrations. One is homogeneous migration. Second one is heterogeneous migration. What is homogeneous migration? Same category. So that means my existing database is MySQL. Okay. I decided to, this is somewhere else in on-premise or within an EC2 instance. This is somewhere else. Now you decided to migrate it to AWS environment. So in AWS, we have RDS. In RDS, this MySQL is supported. Okay. So what we can do? We can take this MySQL database with the help of DMS. This DMS will take the data and it will migrate it here to RDS. Technically, this DB engine and this DB engine is same. So we call it as a homogeneous migration. Okay. So the second option is heterogeneous migration. When coming to heterogeneous migration, see here, my existing database is running with something else. For example, this is running with some IBM DB2 or MongoDB or any other database. So now, in RDS, So Mongo IBM DB2 is supporting. I'm taking it as an example. But in RDS, see, this MongoDB is not supportable. So I'm okay to change my data types. This MongoDB, I'm okay to change my data types. So what I need to do? I'm using this DMS. From this MongoDB, I'm converting it to MySQL here or Aurora here. So here different DB engine, here different DB engine. So technically we call it as a heterogeneous migration. In between, one step additionally adds here called SCT, called schema conversion tool. So whatever the data types you have here, that need to change to MySQL supportable ones, right? SCT will do that. And this DMS, database migration service, is responsible for migrating the data. Okay? Clear with homogeneous and heterogeneous migration? There is a large chart available if you want to verify compatibilities. Okay, I didn't remember whether this is compatible, that is compatible. Even if I got any doubt, I'll refer the chart. So if you really want, I'll give you the chart link. Okay, so DMS source and target compatibility list. You Google it, you will get it. Okay, so clear with this homogeneous and heterogeneous migration? Yeah. So you guys do homogeneous migration. What are the steps involved in this migration activity? So first, I want you to take it as a phase by phase. Step 1, create a database. Call it as a source DB. Within this, I'm sharing commands, right? How exactly I created that finance database? So create one, initiate some data, add some data, create a schema here. Create a schema. Okay, so I already have a schema. Finance schema is there. Classic model schema is there. Okay, now that is source part. Now create a target. So, target DB. Create one. Okay, here also create just empty schemas. Create empty schemas without writing any data, or you leave it. Okay, so this is a target database, right? So, or just create a empty schema. If you don't have schema, it may give an error, but just create an empty schema. Don't add any data into it. Okay, so now these two we already know. How to launch a DB cluster we already know, right? Okay, this part we already discussed. We are doing this from last 2 sessions also. Today also we did same thing. Now, new steps will come. First, create a DMS instance. DMS instance creation just like EC2 instance creation only. Okay, I will show you the steps also. Select the VPC, select the security group. Only important thing is this DMS should able to communicate with these 2 databases. Why it need to communicate? Why? Because this is the one it is going to take data from here and it is going to write it here. So it should have communication to both databases. Okay, fine. So launch all 3 in same VPC. Open all traffic for everyone. So then automatically communication will happen. Now you have to create a targets. So first what you need to do, you have to create a source endpoint. We call it as an endpoint. So this endpoint name should be source endpoint. Okay. When you are giving source, when you are creating source endpoint, it will ask you what is the server name, what is the username, what is the password, what is the port. It will ask you all that information. Enter that information, test the connection. Connection should be success. Okay. This is step 2. Step 1, create a DMS. Okay. Step 1, create a DMS. I will write down that. This is step 1. This is step 2. Make sure the connection is success. Now, create another endpoint. This endpoint, call it as a target endpoint. This should be our third step. Okay. This should be our third step. So here also it will ask us username, server IP, server endpoint, username, password. It will ask this information. Here also connection should be success. Okay. Here also connection should be success. Now, once these 3 steps completed, 4th step will come. In this 4th step, you have to use resources you created so far. So first, choose DMS, then choose source endpoint, then choose target endpoint. So then create a replication job. Step 4 is nothing but create a replication task, replication job. So let me give you the steps. I'm saving as it is image. I will share with you guys. Okay. So these are the steps. I will give you high level overview what you need to do. First, go to DMS. In left pane, go to replication instances. Click on create replication instance. Give a name, description, AR not required, description, what configuration, T3 micro, you can go with it. Engine version 3.5.1 or 5.2, your choice, anything is fine. High availability, devar test workload, don't enable multi-AZ for this, devar test workload. Storage 50 GB is fine. In what VPC you want to run, select the VPC. Which subnet you want to choose, select the default subnet. Publicly accessible, if you want to, you keep it yes or you keep it no. Security group, you create one security group, open all the traffic, or you use default security group, no issue at all. Use default security group also, no issue at all. Then create replication instance. Step 1. Okay. Step 2, endpoint. Create endpoint, select source endpoint, give a name, source endpoint, source engine, my existing database engine is MySQL. Provide access information manually. Server name, that is nothing but endpoint name. Port number 3306. Username, admin or DB admin, you set up, right? Password, you gave Avinash, that password you have set up. SSL, you can go with none. Then here, whatever the replication instance you created, select the replication instance, click on run test. This test should be success. If it is not success, it's problem with your database security group. Open it for everyone. Okay. So then create endpoint. Now source endpoint created. Create another endpoint. This time it should be target. Create target endpoint. Now you have source endpoint and target endpoint. What you need to do? So step 1, replication instance. Step 2, source. Step 3, target. So go to database migration task. Create database migration task. Here you give a name. You select replication instance you created in step 1. You select source endpoint you created in step 2. You select target endpoint you created in step 3. So then you choose migration type. Migrate existing data. So that means only existing data will be picked and it is going to migrate to database. Target. Okay. migrate existing data and replicate ongoing changes. Okay, so technically we call it as a CDC. Okay, so migrate existing data, that means it will migrate all existing data and it will continue replication. It will continue replication. Whatever the changes happen on the source, it will automatically replicate to target. So that is, so CDC means change data captures. Whatever data change happen there, it is going to capture and it is going to replicate. Third one, replicate data changes only. Already one time full load happen, full replication happen. So now you want to replicate changes happen from previous full load. So you can choose this. So most of the times we use this, or we can periodically run this. Migrate existing data periodically, or you want to continuously replicate, you can use it. So now this task settings, drop tables, like, truncate, or you go with all default options here. Data validation, whether it is all data copied or not, you can. So then you create a task here. So automatically on create, this task is going to start. Once this task got started, all your source data should be picked up by DMS, should be written to the target database. That is your task for this weekend, for Saturday. Okay, for Sunday, there is a WordPress task. Use database to store backend data. Take EC2 instance as a front-end web layer. So then these two should be connect each other. Your WordPress definitely required backend database. So the database should come from RDS, and front-end EC2 instance should act as a application or web. So that should deliver a web page, WordPress website. You should able to log in, you should able to create a post, and you should able to deliver that output. Okay, so that is another task for this weekend. These two are important ones, and I want everyone to do this. Okay, so I'll give you help video and articles. Okay. WordPress under this. No, there is a separate repo. So here I have explained clearly step-by-step process and also made a video on this. So I want you to refer this repo. I'm adding below to this. Okay, so reference video also available. WordPress, where is it? Explained a bit fast there, but you can understand. Okay, so this DMS also video available. You can refer this if you really required. Yeah.
Avinash,
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so what is the use of this DMS at the enterprise level? It is just to migration from the on-premises or some
Yes,
other.
migration from on-premise to AWS, migration from Azure to AWS or any other vendor to AWS.
Okay.
In simple, migrating from any other to AWS. Either it is on-premise or Azure or wherever it is. So you can migrate it to AWS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avinash, So post migration, will it give any validation like
Yes,
summary about
validation we
operation?
can enable. Validation is there. Whenever you are creating a DMS task, so if you observe,
No, will it give any summary report like these tables are copied, this DB is copied, these many?
yeah. When you click on the DMS task, it will show you the validations. It will clearly shows you the validations, which table got loaded, which table queued, which table errored. So everything it will show here. Even validation
Oh,
information also. You can get it. Yes.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Avinash, could you please create that password with the Kerberos with that video?
IAM authentication is there, but Kerberos is a bit difficult. I need to have some a kind of environment for that, right? But I mentioned that it's very, very less scenarios we use. I'll tell you why that Kerberos or IAM authentication is not so popular. So generally what we will think, we are going to have an IAM user. We will use this IAM user to log into the database, right? That is not true.
Okay.
We should create an IAM user. So let's assume this IAM user, our name is Avinash. You have to create same user in the database, right? You have to generate an access key ID secret key. Again, this access key ID secret access key, AWS itself don't recommend to. Okay. So then what happens? We have to generate a temporary token for our application. So that temporary token, we have to use it to get connected to the database. Instead of all these things, I can directly create this user and I can configure in my application, right? So these all additional things unnecessary. Only advantage is instead of a fixed credentials, right? We are generating a temporary token. By using the token, we are logging to the database. Okay, you are taking a temporary token, but you are already creating access key and secret access key, you are storing in a server. That is not recommended. So because of all these things, it's not much popular. Okay?
Yeah, okay, Avinash.
Yeah. Yes, as well as this screenshot, right? Desktop DMS task.
Avinash, one more thing. So is there
One
any
second.
option?
One second. Otherwise, I'll forget this. The problem is. And a lot of times it happens. It happened. Yeah. Yes, please go ahead.
So I'm asking, like, is there any option like instead of with DMS, it is a one-to-one mapping, right? So how many tables are the same replica are there? So is there any option I need a custom migration? Like I want to join some two tables in the source table and load it into the target. Can we define any script or can we inform
No.
DMS
Script
to
not required. You can create multiple DMS tasks. You can create
like custom?
multiple DMS tasks. Yeah. One second. Let me stop this. One second. One second.
Recording stopped.
Okay.
Say, like in the source DB, I have some two tables I wanted to join them and apply some
You
filters.
can do table mappings. You can do table mappings.
So
So
this,
that we have to define as a task setting.
oh, so in the DMS task, we need to provide our SQL query what to perform, right?
It's not SQL query actually. You can give DMS settings in JSON format. One second. I'm I'm on your work only.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Just observe this DMS tasks. For example, here sometime back someone asked me validations, right? So once we create this DMS task, we have to define source as well as target. So here, load completed or not, and if you scroll to right, validation state. So we have disable validation for one reason, but here you see, if we enable validation, it will tell you. And here also we can observe how many rows loaded, right? So full rows loaded. And this task is actually runs periodically. Okay, if anything is there, we can go and get it from task logs. And so here we are using a source, right? So this source is an on-premise and we are replicating it to AWS environment. This target is in AWS. Okay. So we are replicating it. That is one. And if you observe some another, you see here full load plus ongoing replication. So basically we call it as a CDC, change data captures. It continuously captures the data and it is going to replicate the data. Right. So yeah, here you can see the progress periodically, any change happened. So sometime back you asked like, table mapping and all. If you observe here, yes, we have to define this task setting here. Within this task settings, yes, we can define. Okay. So mapping rules. Here you see, this is a schema in source table that we are including. So it is going to in same it is going to replicate to the target as well. So we can define that under mapping rules. So multiple sources to one target, yeah, we can
even we can
configure
apply
that.
a filters also, is it?
Yes, we can. That mapping, with the help of mapping, we can apply such type of things.
Okay. Generally, we do when migration, so we'll remove the redundant
Yes.
data and we'll be doing that, right? So that's the reason.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes. And you can observe here this activity I have initiated yesterday. It is still upgrading. I raised a ticket with AWS, but no one picked the ticket yet. So as it is a dev environment, no big impact and all. You see here, yesterday night. Yesterday night I raised this ticket. Okay, so I raised this, but still no one unassigned. So even while we are creating a ticket, it will ask for the severity, right? Production system impaired. Someone have to respond here.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, however I logged in, I did that. Okay, so you observe the databases here, R6G extra large, M4G medium, T4G medium, T4G medium, R6G extra large, and a couple of T4G micros, very less workload. And you can observe the CPU usage and all. Yeah. So
you are also setting alerts, is it, whenever the migration is completed?
yes, yes.
Okay.
We are using SNS topics. Okay, we are using CloudWatch. If you observe SNS topics, you see here these many topics. If any glue job failed, we will get alert. Database related, we will get alert. Step function related, we will get alert. So batch job failed, we will get alert. Assume role, we will get alert. Yes, lot of. Redshift, we will get alert. DMS related alerts. So yes, we are using SNS topics to get such type of alerts. And CloudWatch.
One
CloudWatch.
small, like
There
CloudWatch
is,
logs
let me,
downloaded.
sir, let me
Sorry.
complete. So see here, DMS tasks, whatever the metrics I want to closely monitor. You see here, I added all that here. So simply I can come here last 1 hour, last 12 hours, right? Last 1 day activities. So what happened somewhere, a CPU spike occurred here. So I can simply come here and I can verify the things here. So this I already explained, CloudWatch dashboard. I'm really using this. VPC logs I explained. So alarms also I explained. So VPC logs. So here, not only VPC logs, lot of other, you see, VPC flow logs, all VPC flow logs come and stores here. These all are the network interfaces. You see here. So retention, 3 days. That is okay. Right, created 6 years back. And alarms, you remember alarms? So we have created alarms, right? So we are using less EC2 instances in this account, and most of the ones, like by using script, we are going to perform stop and start. So we have these configurations. So this bit higher configurations, R6i, 2 extra large, T3 medium. This is jump server, Bastion. You remember jump server. So T2 micro is fine, not so useful, right? We are just using it to get connected to. So that less configuration is fine. And these are high configuration based on our requirement. We will run and we will stop so that we can save some cost. That also automated. A task coming on that as well. Okay. So not only that, AMIs, we are we have some AMIs, snapshots. Okay, we did clean up that snapshot. Lot of security groups here, 67 security groups we are using, and one elastic IP address, right? And load balancer. But this is an internal load balancer. We are not facing anything outside world. So if you click here, it will show you. See here, internal load balancer. Another one also internal load balancer only. See here, internal load balancer only. Auto scaling group, I told you, we don't use much. Not really using here. Why? Because we know what workload we are actually using. Okay. IAM, we are already using here. S3 buckets, we are using very heavily. Okay. See, 93 buckets, 600 and plus GB data. So that too, it's a very small environment actually. So I'm not actually showing an actual environment. So IAM, you see here, 60 users, 155 roles. We even have an identity provider. So see, as I promised, I'm trying to deliver how exactly we are using in real environment. So if I'm giving a task, if you are neglecting it, it is not my problem. Okay, it's your problem. So if you sit for some time, if you complete all the tasks, see, we are using alarms. I give a task and alarm. If you do the task, so if you will definitely gain some knowledge, right? So you see how many DMS tasks are there in my account. 127 endpoints are there. So if you spend some time, if you do the task, yes, you can answer confidently in your interview. So, one thing I forgot. Did I sign out? No. I told you we use pipeline mechanism. See, I know most of you did not understand the pipeline mechanism. So, but we are using the pipeline mechanisms here. We are not opening all traffic to anywhere. For example, you take this cluster. Here we have a security group. Observe the security group. Did we open it for everyone? You see here, we are opening traffic to another security group. We are opening traffic to another security group. We are opening traffic to only known teams, known subnets, which developer, which team want to access. See, even though we have this 53 entries, we are allowing 53 entries, but nowhere we are opening it for everyone. It's kind of a crime. Opening for everyone is kind of a crime. So, and pipeline mechanism. If I don't explain the pipeline mechanism, you don't understand what is this. See? We are using it, right? We are using it for separate CADRs, right? Yeah. So you should know that. Okay. And not only there, for another databases also, even for EC2 instances also, we use that pipeline mechanisms only. If you're taking some instances here, so this is like a loop back ICMP to ping. Basically, to ping, I have opened this. That you should not have. So there is no big problem with the ping, but we should not have any. So you see here, opening traffic to only specific VM. So specific machine only, right? So yeah, we don't actually open it for everyone. Yeah. So that's important thing. So this is Bastion. So here, you see, pipeline mechanism, pipeline mechanism, pipeline mechanism, pipeline mechanism, delivering 443 to a specific web page only. Okay. So yeah, you should be good with that pipeline mechanism.